Okay, Chasing Man, we're back. It's Liam, and I am lucky enough to have a YouTube up-and-coming superstar, a bit of a CrossFit gun himself, Nate Edwardson. How are you, buddy?
What's up, dude? I'm good. That's quite the intro. Love
Wow,
it.
I'm just giving you that feedback you deserve. You might not
Yeah.
feel like you're there yet, mate, but there's a reason why I got you on the podcast because I feel what you're doing is just wicked.
Thanks, bro. Pumping the tires a little bit. I'll take it.
There we go. What's it all like out your end of the woods? You're out in Vancouver?
Yeah, Vancouver, man. Yeah. So it's pretty chill. Like things have definitely quieted down. Vancouver compared to yourself in Ontario and Quebec, like it wasn't hit quite as hard. It's kind of my life has been minus the extremes of like the travel and the not traveling. I don't really operate in the middle too much. There's not like when I'm not traveling, I'm not really doing much. Like I'm at home and working from home, like vlogging at home, maybe going to the gym, but that's kind of it. We don't really go to restaurants too much. Like I work a lot. So like there's not a lot that has like felt like it's changed in the day to day other than the fact that I don't have the other extreme of actually traveling. So.
And have you found like it advantageous at the moment? Have you been sort of like discovering new ideas and working on new things during this time?
Oh, hell yeah, man. It's been like, you can't call it a blessing because obviously it's a global pandemic. People are dying. So that's not something you want to say. But like for me personally, what it's allowed me to do as far as the content creation standpoint has been awesome because like the goal of mine with the channel when I started it was to differentiate the content away from just the day in life series. Like the day in life series is my favorite thing to make by far. I absolutely love it. Obviously my fans and audience love it and it's amazing, but I didn't want it to be the only thing the channel was. And I had gotten to the point after like 3 or 4 months of making it where that's kind of what people had come to expect. And so I needed to have some sort of like introduction of other forms of content in order to not go too far down that rabbit hole and then be pigeonholed. And so when this came up, it was kind of around the time I was searching for like different kind of outlets of how to create more content and kind of be able to be creative with different things. And this was the opportunity to be like, hey, I can't make day in life videos. Like I can't do it. I physically can't. There's no way. And my audience is going to know that. So they'll probably be more receptive than ever to me, experimenting a little bit. So that's when I was like, okay, sweet. I'm going to commit to three uploads a week. And I have no idea what I'm going to make for content, zero clue, but I'm going to figure it out as I go. And so they started off with like a little bit shorter form videos. And then I did a little bit longer form. And now I've kind of found this like happy medium and kind of refound my like vlogging form and kind of what I want my vlogs on the channel to be. And just been playing around with that. So like, yeah, from a content channel perspective, man, it's good. I'm excited to get back on the road now because it's been like 2 months, but the time that I've spent at home creating has been, advantageous to the channel for sure, I think.
Brilliant. Good job. Hey, so do you want to give the listeners and watchers and all those other people, I don't know who they are, just a sort of a brief sort of bio on yourself. So I don't know what you grew up doing sports wise, obviously because you're a big CrossFit fan, but sort of like what you grew up doing when you were younger and where you thought your life was heading and towards where you're at now.
Yeah, totally, man. And feel free to like point me in any direction as I go. But
Sure.
Growing up sports wise, I mean, I love sports for my entire life from like age 2 or 3 when I played soccer for the first time till like university. I was just like, all I cared about was sports. I was obsessed. So I played pretty much everything in the book. Like I started with soccer and baseball, got into basketball, got into volleyball, beach volleyball, rugby, hockey, lacrosse, probably forgetting something, but I just love sports. And rugby was the one I kind of took the highest, the farthest. And that was like end of high school, university. It's the sport I played in university. That's kind of the path that led me towards the CrossFit side of things. I mean,
now, hey, just on that note, Were you originally from Ontario or were you always out in BC?
Yep. So I grew up in Ottawa, just outside of Ottawa, like 45 minutes outside in this little town called Stittsville. So I grew up in kind of like a small town-ish. And I think that's part of the reason why sports were like everything, because like there wasn't a whole lot else to do. And I just loved kind of competing and all that. So, yeah.
And then I think I remember from when we worked out together God, whenever that was, a year and a half, 2 years ago. Is it true in saying that you found CrossFit through rugby through the Franks brothers?
Yeah. Good memory. Yeah. Fuck, that's so funny. I basically it was off-season training for university rugby, and we were a club team. So basically, what that means for Americans or anyone who doesn't know is club in universities is basically not funded by the university. So you have varsity, which is funded by the university, and then you have club, which is not like a different level. It's just certain sports. There's only so much funding. So the university picks different sports, and they change every once in a while. But rugby at my university, Acadia, was a varsity sport for the girls, but not the guys, because there has to be an equal number of varsity sports for the guys and for the girls. And because the guys have American football and the girls don't, they sub in rugby. So we were kind of left out. So anyway, we didn't have like a strength and conditioning coach or anything. And I was going through trials to play for U21 Canada. And so I had to train, I had to take it more seriously, whatever. And so I found through the Franks brothers, they had like videos on YouTube of them doing CrossFit. I had no idea what that was. And I just kind of followed down that hole and discovered like CrossFit football kind of things and tried those. Got kicked out of, the classic story, got kicked out of my university gym because the strength and conditioning coach hated CrossFit.
As they do, yeah.
Yeah, as they do. And so I found a local affiliate, which was like, can't believe I did it because I went to school in the middle of nowhere. So like 25 minutes from my school was this tiny, tiny little startup affiliate with like 4, 5, 6 members. And went there. After one day of going to CrossFit, the person, because I had a strength and conditioning background, i.e. I played sports, asked me if I could coach because she was also trying to run a chiropractic business. So I started coaching with like no L1 for like 8 months. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, that was kind of my intro to CrossFit. So.
And so when you got intro, were you sort of like balls to the wall all in?
Yeah, dude, I was that nightmare of a member that nobody would want their affiliate because I was left to my own, like, whatever. I didn't have a coach from day one. Like, day one I started CrossFit, no one ever coached me. I went into one class and she was like, hey, like, you know what you're doing. Why don't you coach for me? And like, that made me feel like I knew everything. And so like, I would just like mimic what I saw in like videos. And obviously I was like, it was around 2014. So like all the content was about Rich. So I was like really infatuated with Rich and I was doing similar things. And I was just training like mad, but I couldn't do an overhead squat. I couldn't do any technique work. I had awful mobility. Luckily I was like 18. So, I mean, I bounced back from anything that went wrong, but yeah, I was just brutal. And then after like a year and a half of doing that, I got an offer to, after I got my level 1 and coached for a bit more, I got an offer to move to Halifax, which is like, I went to school in the Naval's Valley. So it's like an hour outside of Nova Scotia. Okay. And, to coach full time. And so I moved there and that was the first time I actually also had a coach me, which was amazing and made a world of difference. So, but yeah, until that point, man, I was bad. I was strapping on way too much weight, doing movements I couldn't do. Like, it was bad.
But you've done well, man, because like when we trained together, you move exceptionally well. Was that from, just having that coach, or did you do a lot of self-learning, like watching YouTube clips and all that sort of stuff?
Everything was self-learning. When I started coaching at that one gym where I said I had a coach, basically I just mean I started doing classes as well. And so I had someone at least give me a little bit of feedback. But at that point, to be honest, I had kind of refined most of the movement patterns through, watching videos, but also just like, like I said, I grew up playing every sport in the book. And I'm a huge believer in like the development of like the entire body's athleticism through multiple sports. So like if I had just grown up playing soccer, just growing up playing basketball, or just playing rugby, I might not have been able to adapt as quickly. But because I think I played so many different sports with so many different physical demands, my body just kind of like learns things quickly, I guess. So yeah, I would say within like 6 months to a year, I could do every movement okay. I just had mobility restrictions, but like the movement patterns were pretty good. And that was pretty much all self-taught. It was mainly when I got to that gym, the coaches were like, hey, maybe you should work on your mobility. Try this stretch, try that, and then that's kind of when it all fell into place.
And as a coach, you've probably seen it yourself. Actually, for the Chasing Man listeners, they probably don't know that I was a CrossFit coach and CrossFit owner for a long time. But,
right.
When you're running a class and you get the newbie comes in and you say, like, put your right arm here, and they lift up their left arm, and then
Oh man, I know.
people that have that body awareness, and then you link it to the amount of sport that they've actually done in their lives. There's always that link, right? So
yeah, man. Like dude, that was one of the things that was the hardest for me when I coached. So I coached full time for like 5.5 years basically, and so I was really good. I developed a lot of patience. You know, I was like a nice guy, but like whenever someone would come in and it was exactly what you just said, and just like the simplest cues, like push your hips back, and they would just like bend their knees and squat. I'm like, like people who just had no mind-body connection. And I just had to remind myself that like some people literally didn't play sports as a kid and have now sat at a desk for 20 years and like not really moved. And like that was always just something that like I couldn't wrap my head around, because literally until that point I had only been surrounded by people who were extremely gifted in athletics, because I just played sports, and I always tried to, you know, progress and whatever, and going to this camp and that camp. And so like learning that not everybody had those basic things was like, I remember I was so mad one day that I made for a warm-up for like a month. All we could do for a warm-up was use a ball. So like I created different games that involved throwing and catching to like warm up. But like I was like, people need to learn these skills. Like,
yeah, man,
you can't throw and catch a ball. What's wrong with you?
Gee, I always used to, the one that used to really get me was, you know, you'd use every single cue under the sun to fix one thing, and they'd never get it. And then they'd go away on vacation, and they had this amazing coach, and they've suddenly clicked, and you're like, are you kidding me? I've been telling you that for 4 years.
I know.
But sometimes it just takes, you know, an outsider, right?
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's bad. I have some like opinions on not opinions, but just like, I don't know, when you see like a CrossFit Games athlete who's like one of the fittest people on earth, and I've seen a lot of them who are just the most awkward, can't do anything except the movements they practice 1,000 times in CrossFit, like have no real body awareness, like outside of just like a kipping pull up. I'm just like, how can you call that person the fittest on earth if they literally can't throw and catch a ball properly?
Yeah. And that's why we love what we love, right? Like it's the ultimate test. I love it.
Yeah.
So do you think like the YouTube passion sort of came from watching those videos that made you a better athlete, a better mover?
No, I don't think so. I discovered YouTube later on. So that was like 2014-ish when I was doing that. And YouTube for me up until about 2017 was like what it is for a lot of people probably over the age of like 45 right now, where it's just like you type in something you want to see how to do and you watch it. So like I just use YouTube for that purpose. I didn't really consume content. I didn't have any creators I followed. I didn't even know people did YouTube as like a thing. Like I thought it was just like, I didn't know where the videos came from. They were just there, you know, like I thought it was just entities that whatever. I didn't realize it was like individual people and like whatever. So no, it was like 2017 when YouTube when I realized what it was through a guy named Casey Neistat, who's like the OG vlogger. He was like a daily vlogger, started back in 2015. Like I said, I found his stuff later on in 2017, but he daily vlogged for like 630 days in a row, and like really kind of like took what vlogging was and absolutely evolved it. Like nobody on planet Earth was using a DSLR with a shotgun mic and the Gorilla Pod. Like it was all just like handheld iPhone or like flip up cameras. Like he just revolutionized vlogging. And through watching his videos, that's where I kind of developed like not necessarily, I developed a passion by doing it, but I got the spark to be like, maybe I'd like that by watching his stuff.
And what was his content? Did it focus around anything in particular?
No, it's just daily vlogging. So daily vlogging is like a separate genre on YouTube where like literally you make a video every single day, no matter what. And so you're documenting aspects of your life that you think would be interesting and you try to tell a story with it. That's the thing he did really well, was he's a really great storyteller. So taking like regularly mundane aspects of your day and trying to like make it appealing to an audience.
Yeah. And
that just like fascinated me because, you know, I'm not even to this point, having done more classical like videography type work and the vlogging and all that, like I'm not a director and I've never been a director. Like I have lots of ideas, but I like to let my ideas ideate or formulate in the process of creating. Like I don't like to sit down in a room and try to pick out a whole scene and direct it. I like to just kind of let my creativity flow as I go. And so, you know, seeing him kind of go through that on a daily basis, I was like, hey, I think I can, that looks cool. Like something about that. I didn't know what about it, but something about it, I was like, oh, that looks cool.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So this is what you do now full time.
Mhm.
What did you go to school for, and why why have you decided to follow this passion?
So I went to school, university, kind of the classic, my generation, and still probably this generation to some extent, track of like, you go to high school and, in Canada, at least, you have two tracks of classes. You have university and college level.
Yep.
And so you're basically made to think that university level is harder and for the smarter kids, and college level is less hard and for the less smart kids, which is not true at all, but that's how it's positioned in the school system. And so everyone that tries to follow the university tracks, and you all go through the university level programs, and then you're kind of pre-programmed to be like, okay, now I have to go to university when high school ends. And so I did that, and I just was like, hey, I have to go. Everyone else is going. I don't know what I want to do. I'm just going to pick something. So I randomly picked a class that I liked in grade 12, which was political science. So I actually went to school my first 2 years for a double degree in political science and economics.
Wow.
Yeah, which, I mean, I don't know if that sounds wow. It's not wow. It's very easy. It's an arts degree, but it was.
It sounds smarter than the average beer to me, mate. I'm a very, very, very simple man.
Yeah, me too. Anyway, so I did that for like 2 years. Didn't really love it. Switched to business when I moved to Halifax in my third year. And I switched universities too, obviously, because I moved for that job. But, I did my third year, I think, in full. And then it was around the end of my third year when I discovered vlogging, and I adopted it like everything else in my life as like, that was the thing I was interested in. So that's the only thing I gave any attention to in my entire life. Like that's always just kind of been like, I don't know, I think it's a good thing. It's just like how I've always been. Like I'm very one track minded when I want something, or like even when I'm not when I want, but just when I'm interested in something.
Yep.
It's like super narrow focus. So I just started like skipping class and not going to class. And by the next year I had only registered for like 2 classes in the semester, which I dropped out of. And then I just like never went back. And then when I took on, I just kind of I followed a track that wasn't for YouTube, because when I was making YouTube videos while I was going to school, I was daily vlogging. So I was uploading a video every single day. I was going to school from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then I was working from 3 p.m. till 10 p.m. So I would vlog the process of me going, and I was also not doing anything to do with CrossFit. I didn't mention CrossFit in any of my first 250 videos because I wanted to keep them separate for whatever reason. So I would vlog like basically the process of me going to school. I would come home from school. I'd have an hour. I'd do a little bit at home. I would go to work. I'd come back 10 o'clock and edit a video. And I did that for so long, 250-ish videos, and I amassed like 80 subscribers. Like nothing. So YouTube wasn't even like a thought in my mind of like a job or anything like that. Like it was just something I liked doing. And for some reason I was like, okay, I'll sacrifice everything because I like doing this. But it was after that, I kind of decided, I was like, oh, I kind of like the video side of it. And so that's kind of where that pursuit started, I guess.
And you just learn as you're going once again? Like, have you done any formal training in photography and using editing type stuff?
Yeah, no, nothing, man. It was literally the first video I shot on my channel, which is private now, but I'll probably make it public again at some point. But the first video I shot was, I literally had never pressed record on a camera in my life. And I just held my iPhone up like this, vertical. So anyone who knows anything about making videos, that means you're going to have black bars on the side when you try to put it in a 16:9 frame. And so I shot the whole video like this, and then I went on my computer on iMovie, and I like watched YouTube tutorials on like how to edit on iMovie. And through the process of making the 250 videos on my channel, I learned kind of how to do it as I went. So
Yeah, I'm going through that process right now. It's hilarious.
yeah, it's fun, man. It's fun. That's the best way to learn, just by doing, for sure.
Yeah, man. So what was the support, the feedback from the family when you decided, school's not really for me. I'm really into this sort of vlogging type style of living. Like what was their sort of?
Well, the two kind of happened separately. So like I was going to give it a bit more context. I was going to school full-time in Halifax. I was working full-time job, and I was doing the YouTube thing. And then I stopped doing the YouTube thing because I was like, I'm making all these videos and they've gotten okay, but because I'm making one every single day, I don't have the time to learn how to make them better. So I was like, I'm going to stop making them every single day, and I'm going to try to just learn how to make better videos. And so I had started more trying to do like videography style stuff. And like, I was just offering to work for free for like local businesses and make them videos. And it was around that time I got in contact with Paul Tremblay, who offered me a job to move to Ottawa to do coaching and social media at his gym. And so that was kind of the transition where I was like, that was officially when I dropped out of school, because I was like, oh, I want to pursue that. It wasn't necessarily like, again, YouTube as a full-time career was not in my head until September of this past year, really.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I think that's when we met, when you were just sort of on the verges of going out to see Paul.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So, I mean, YouTube wasn't even a thought as like as a job or anything like that. It was just like something I liked making videos, and I was like, oh, cool. This is an opportunity to go and do it for like kind of an established brand and name. And I had all these ideas for like content. Like I started a vlog for them, and I started a podcast for them. And like, it was a really cool like introduction to like creating content, and also creating content in the CrossFit space. It's the first time I had ever done that. And so I moved out there and to do that. And I mean, as far as my parents, they were totally fine. Like I've never been the kind to ask for permission when I do something. Like I just kind of do it. If I want to do something, I just do it. And so, I mean, my parents were like, my mom's always been pretty blindly supportive of everything. Like she's just, oh, great. Like whatever makes you happy, blah, blah. My dad asked questions, but I just kind of like, especially in those moments, I kind of would, say things that I knew weren't going to like spark too much debate until I had to. But for the most part, again, they're both decently supportive, especially because I was moving out there for a job. I didn't let them know I was moving out there for a job where I was making significantly less money than the job I was currently had in Halifax, but I saw it as a bigger opportunity. So I was like, I'm going to take it. And yeah, so that was kind of the process of like the dropping out of school or whatever. But it was pretty like, it was pretty seamless, I guess. I told them, I was like, I'll do classes online. Didn't do that.
That's awesome, dude. So, I mean, it's one of the things I sort of talk about with this men's group stuff is like just finding that passion and rolling with it, right? You don't necessarily have to know the outcome.
Dude, it's like, it's something I talk about all the time because I get a lot of those questions from people. And like, there's a lot of people who like think they might be interested in something, but don't really know how it can pan out. Don't know how it'll make a career. Don't know how it'll turn into this or that, whatever. And like, my advice to them is just like, just pursue whatever aspects of it are able to be pursued. So like, I had no idea that in the back of my mind, I was like, ooh, being a YouTuber would be cool. But it wasn't like right there. It was just like, okay, I liked doing this YouTube thing and making videos. And then this tiny little opportunity jumped for me to make more videos. So I was like, ooh, I'll take that. And then another little opportunity came, for me to like go to Miami and go to Wadapalooza and record there. I was like, ooh, I'll take that. And then go on a cruise with Austin Maliello. Ooh, I'll take that. And then the Buttery Bros, I hit them up and they responded and they were like, you can come film with us. So I hit that. And then it was like Rory and boom. And then it was like, okay, after all that, after these trying all these different things and like beep, bap, boop, bap, boop, of like some resemblance of like, hey, I'm kind of interested in this. I was able to sit back and be like, okay, I just amassed 2 years of experience making videos in all these different capacities. And I like it. But the thing I realized was I don't like making videos. I don't like just making videos. I don't want to be a videographer and make videos for other people. I like telling stories and I like having a creative outlet. And if videos are the means that I choose to display those two things, but I only enjoy the process of making the videos if it's for those two things. If it's for someone else, I don't like it. So I was like, my only option right now is to try to do it on my own. And that's when I started the channel in September. That's kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but it was literally what you just said. I was just kind of roughly following a resemblance of whatever, had no idea where it was going to go. Never in a billion years would I tell you I would have a channel that was like massively larger than anything I worked on in the past or minus obviously Buttery Bros, but in other regards,
So why was it that you don't like doing the stuff for other people? Is it just that freedom that you enjoy? That creative freedom, the freedom of time?
Yeah, I've always been like a bad employee, probably. Like, like I work hard and stuff, but if I'm not interested in something, I can't. Like, I just have no ability to like put effort towards it. So like, after I had done stuff for other people, I started seeing where it all was going, and I started having ideas of my own and things I kind of wanted to do and implement. The problem with doing creative for someone else is that at the end of the day, it's their vision and their whatever coming to fruition. Even though, you know, when I worked with Rory and stuff like that, he was very open to me kind of ideating a lot of the content. At the end of the day, it's his name, it's his brand. There's certain things that just won't fly or whatever. And so for me, it was just really a moment of like, hey, like, this is just work. This isn't really enjoyment anymore. And I started making videos. I made all of these videos. I bled out my eyeballs for a year, daily vlogging while going to school full-time and working full-time, just because I thought it was cool. I liked doing it. And I want that back. And I know if I don't get that back, I'm going to hate this and I'm not going to do this ever again. So that was kind of where I was like, all right, I gotta figure something out.
Dude, I see that as an awesome thing. That's like, there's so many people out there that are just, you know, the marching to the beat of the war drum, right? They just do life. They show up, they do their thing, they go home, they sleep. Whereas you're out there chasing it. You're chasing what you love. You're chasing what excites you. Like, you might work huge amounts of hours, but at the end of the day, the reward is amazing, right?
Oh, I love it, man. For sure.
So talk us through it, like a day. Like, do you literally have a camera, multiple cameras with you, on you all the time, or?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, technically, I always have the camera on me because I always have my phone. So, you know, if things come up where I need to shoot and I don't have my big camera, my other camera on me, then I'll use my phone. But most of the time, I have my vlogging camera just sitting to my right there on me pretty much all the time. I've tried to, like, especially since I switched to the 3-day-a-week upload schedule, I've tried to, like, and because I've been home, I've been able to kind of create a bit of a resembling of a normal schedule. So, like, one of the things I've been very, you know, passionate, I don't know if it's the right word, but very, like, mindful of is, like, creator burnout. That's, like, a massive thing. And I've studied YouTubers and YouTube content creators for years now. And, like, I've seen it so many times where you just get so caught up because it's so fun and views are so addicting and growing a channel is so addicting. And once you get that little resemblance of, like, pretty much like once you pass 1,000 subscribers or something like that, and it's there, you know, you're getting this feedback, you're getting these views, people engaging, you have fans, whatever it is, like, it gets addicting and people get really caught up in it because there's nothing in front of you other than yourself. So it's really easy to just kind of go way too fast. So I've tried to be really mindful of, like, taking days off. Like, I try to take 100% one day off, most days, at least 2 days off. And since quarantine has happened, I've tried to take, like, a normal weekend because my girlfriend's home, she's not working. And she works shift work, so her schedule's all over the place usually. But because she's home, I'm like, hey, sweet, I can finally try to take Saturday, Sunday off, whatever. So typically what I'll do is I'll shoot on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and then I'll edit on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays usually. And that's kind of how I fit my 3-video-a-week schedule. Wednesdays, todays are usually a harder day because I'm doing both the shooting and the editing. So, like, right now I'm editing Friday's video, but also shooting Monday's video. So there's a couple days a week that get a little hairy, and, like, sometimes, like, last week I worked, like, half the day on Saturday or whatever. But, you know, for the most part, I try to keep it within the confines of the week. You know, unless something comes up where there's, like, an interesting shoot or whatever happening on the weekend that I can be a part of. But.
Yeah, man, that sounds cool. And so how do you, like, what is your ultimate goal? Like, do you like aim for a specific time, or are you just hey, you may have a couple of awesome days and the video ends up going longer or shorter, or how does it work?
Yeah, typically most of my videos are just filmed over the course of one day. I don't really do multiple days just because I'm making so many videos. I just can't. Yep. So yeah, typically, I mean, my videos sit anywhere from, like, 15 to 30 minutes, I would say, on, like, the vlog standpoint. And then obviously the day in the lives are, like, anywhere from, like, an hour to 2 hours. They're like movies. But, you know, the vlogs, yeah, like 15, 30 minutes, which is longer than a lot of YouTubers. And I think it's because I've kind of built my content and my style a bit more around, like, conversation and not information based, but, like, I'm not afraid to talk in my videos. Like, my main demographic, I think, like, 48 or more % of my demographic is 25 to 35, which I find as a blessing because that means I'm not trying to keep 13-year-olds' attention. Like, the people on YouTube who are, like, massive, a lot of the time are having to keep the attention of, like, 13 to 18-year-olds, which is, like, impossible. And you have to have, like, quick cuts every 10 seconds, and you have to be, you know, jumping all over the place. You can't just, like, stand there and talk. But because I've been able to, like, develop a bit more of a mature audience, it allows me to be more like, I'm a big personality, but like, I'm also not like trying to just jump and scream the whole video. Like I like to have real conversations and, you know, be able to just kind of be like a normal person on camera to some extent. So I kind of fit within that framework, I guess, the 15 to 30 minutes, and I'm not afraid to talk, basically.
Yeah, and like, how long does that take you to sort of edit everything? So obviously you've got the camera on you, but then you've got to go through it all again and go, this is good, this is rubbish, this is good, this is rubbish.
Yeah, I'd say like a day, usually, like a day of work. So like I'll usually start editing a video around like 9:30, 10. I'll edit. I'll do what's called pulling selects for like an hour or two. So that's basically you're just going through all of the clips you shot and picking out the good parts and putting them in a timeline. And then you go back through and you kind of link it all up with like transitions, music, put in any motion graphics or titles or anything that you need. So depending what the video is, like the day of eating videos have been taking me forever because every like 2 minutes there's a different graphic that has to go on the screen that's like, you know, the numbers or the calories, the macros of the meal. So those kind of things, those little tedious things take forever. So like, yeah, I would say a typical vlog takes me anywhere from like actual sitting down at the desk editing time, anywhere from like 6 to 8 hours of like editing, and then another probably 2 hours if you count the times when my computer is just sitting there rendering the video, like exporting or uploading. And then another probably, it takes me about, just this part blows people's minds, but I would say on average I spend about an hour and a half to 2 hours making the thumbnails. So just like that little picture that you see.
Do you know what? Before we jumped on, I was just re-going through some of your stuff, and I was like, "Man, your thumbnails are wicked!" Like,
Thanks, man.
you in your kitchen and your background, and then you've got like Rich beside you, or like Noah Olsen and stuff. So do you have to clip art, all that sort of stuff, and put it in?
Yeah, definitely. And like, you know, that isn't, it's not super novel, like the types of thumbnails I have. Like a lot of people do that. And it's like, once you get fluent with it, it's not awful. It takes a little while to do all that in Photoshop. But the part that takes me the most time is I'm very like evaluative and particular with my thumbnails. Like I'll make 3 or 4 different versions of the same thumbnail and like spend 30 minutes just like moving and resizing the title text and like positioning it and like adding like a black bar or taking it away, or like, you know, all these little tiny things that I don't know why I'm so focused on, but like I think it's because I know in the back of my mind that the reality of YouTube is like, if you don't have an attractive title thumbnail, you're not going to get views. And like you can have the best video in the world, best, coolest, most amazing, monumentous, make someone feel good about themselves video in the world. But if you don't have a good title thumbnail, no one's clicking on it.
Yeah.
So it's like, you gotta, I feel like if I put, you know, 6 to 8 hours into, or if I put a day into shooting a video, another basically day into editing the video, and then I spend 10 minutes on a crappy thumbnail, I've literally wasted 2 days. So it's like I have to put in proportionally just as much time to that as I do to everything else in the video. Otherwise it's just, you're wasting your time, you know?
Yeah, man. And then you've got your life to fit in around that, right? Because I know obviously you're a CrossFitter. You still love to work out. You've got a partner that you got to spend time with. So it must be tough, like fitting it all in. How do you find balance?
I mean, I'm lucky in the sense that like I've never really cared about having a life. And I know that sounds kind of messed up, but like I've always been in a relationship for the most part. So I've always kind of had like one person, like ever since like the beginning of high school. I've always had, not the same person, but I've always had like one person that I've kind of been with that's like my friend. And like, that's always kind of been enough. So, you know, having her, especially now that we've lived together for like 6 years. So like this whole time having her here is great. So I don't really put any time towards having a life. I don't care. And like anytime I'm not working, I'm so exhausted from working that I don't really want to do anything other than just sit on the couch anyways.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, it's been the toughest part, honestly, with the channel is, it's everything I just described to you with making the video is 30% of the work that goes into running a channel, because none of that can happen if I'm not making any money. And in order to make money, I have to be running a business. I have to be working with brands. I have to be in communications with brands. I have to be seeking out partnerships. I have to be creating merch and running a clothing company. And I have to be figuring out how to promote that and like doing marketing for that and like coming on things like this. Cause like even, you know, just little other avenues to get the brand out there and just there's a lot. And then obviously when you add in the fact that I started doing DECA for the content, that means now I'm training an additional 2+ hours a day. So like, where the hell am I going to fit that in? That's been really hard recently, because not only is it a lot of time to train, but it's made me so much more tired for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Which is also really hard. So yeah, recently I've been struggling with whether I should keep 2 days off, because it would be a lot easier if I put less pressure on the 5 days a week that I'm working and spread it out over the course of like 6 or 7 days. But again, then I get worried if I don't actually take a day off where I can like try to switch my brain off, then I'll burn out. So I don't know. It's like this constant struggle.
Yeah. Balance in life's a tricky thing, right? But
Mm.
you know, it's different for every single individual as well. And
Yep.
you're a young man. What age are you?
25, just turned 25.
Yeah, mate, you wait till you hit 40 and it's all upside down and curvy, topsy-turvy.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I've really enjoyed this conversation, because it's like, this is all new for me, and potentially I would love to, you know, obviously I want to do these podcasts, but the video aspect on YouTube. So it's really
Sure.
great hearing some ideas.
Okay.
For people that are listening, what 5 tips could you give them to get started?
Get started with what? Content creation?
Yeah, content creation, or, you know, or just throwing stuff on YouTube, like getting themselves going. Because I just find, you know, with a lot of the clients I work with, they have these ideas, whether it's starting a business or, you know, content creation or, you know, working out, whatever it is. But the biggest thing is just getting started.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the biggest piece of advice I'd give, like, to anyone, no matter what the pursuit is, like whether it be actually be YouTube or whether it be any kind of business, is like, you're just getting in, most of the time, 90% of the time, you're just getting in front of yourself. Like, you're the thing that's blocking you from starting. It's your worry about others' perception on you or what you're doing. It's your worry about having to take a hit in your public appearance in your life, like sell your house and move into a smaller apartment, or sell your car and take public transit. You know, whatever it is, there's always going to be these little things, these little outward whatever that's stopping you, or kind of looking as barriers for you. But I mean, the thing that I would tell people, and what I try to use to tell my story, and, you know, I don't believe I've done enough of it to really get super deep into it, but I will one day. But like, you know, I didn't have, when I started the channel, I had like nothing in place to make it a success. Like, I had no subscribers. I had no like backing. I had no money. I had no way to make money. I had, like, there was everything a rational person would think should be in place, I didn't have. And 90% of the time when you're starting something, you're not going to be able to get that in place, or it's going to take you so long to get it in place that it's already going to be too late to do what you're doing. So like, a lot of the time it just comes down to starting. Like, even if it's not full capacity, what you think you want it to be down the road, just move through the paces, do something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, someone who wants to one day have their own bakery, like a bake shop, because they love baking. Okay, great. You're not going to start a bakery tomorrow. It's not going to happen. But what you can do is you can start an Instagram page, and you can make yourself a professional baker, because Instagram is really cool. You can be whatever you want to be if you create a profile.
Love it.
And so you create a page and say you're a professional baker, and then you start posting pictures of your baking. And then, like, after 2 weeks, 3 weeks of doing that, you run some ads and you get some followers, and then you go and you build a free website, and then you basically add a Shopify or whatever, and then you can start selling it. Like, there's so many different ways to kind of like chip away at something. It's just people who are like either too caught up in the big picture or too far in front of themselves with all of these like worries and concerns about, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. I haven't known how to do one thing I've ever done in my life. Like, we didn't even touch on it, but for like a year and a half in Ottawa, to subsidize what I wasn't making from the gym, I started a digital marketing company. I was all of a sudden, after a week of doing social media for that gym, all of a sudden I was a digital marketing SEO expert. I was like the top knowledge, and I started a business, and I hired subcontractors, not hired, but I paid them on like a commission basis. And within like 3 or 4 months of being 3 or 4 weeks of being a self-titled social media SEO expert, I signed on over $100,000 of clients on annual recurring contracts. And like, you can fake it till you make it with anything in the world. And there's some way that you can kind of build towards it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't, everything your parents knew about industry and starting a business is completely bunk now because of the internet. And there's always a way for you to work slowly towards that goal, whatever it might be. And no matter how small and minuscule or insignificant it might seem, just start doing something that somewhat resembles what you might want to do. And you'll find yourself connecting the dots as you go.
Dude, for 25, that is way above your years and age, dude. Like, I love it. It's, you know, like I follow a whole lot of business guys, like, you know, Gary V is a big one on just saying, just start. The rest will work itself out. So it's amazing, dude. I really, really, really love that as a finish. So, man, obviously having you on board, I want to be able to support you 100%. I want everybody else to support you. What can we do to help you out, man?
Oh, dude, just, I don't know, keep enjoying the videos, I guess. You know, I appreciate everyone that watches the content, and that's huge. You know, just simple things like if you like the content, subscribe to the channel. That obviously helps. That helps me be able to position it better and, you know, be able to keep creating the content the audience wants to see. So, yeah.
And then what are the other things you got going on as well? You come on, stand up and show everyone your t-shirt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got a merch company or a brand, I guess. You know, it's sort of merch, but it's also a brand and a, you know, a message that I'm super passionate about, like dream it, do it. And, you know, it encompasses a lot of what I just talked about. Like everyone has these dreams. Everyone's sitting there being like, hey, I want to do this. Hey, I'd love to do this. It's like, well, do it. And you can do it. There's little steps you can take to do it. And the only thing standing between you and your dreams is your actions and like what you choose to do. So that's why it's dream it, do it. It's like exclamation mark.
Do it.
And so I mean, I have a kind of that company that runs and adjacent to what I promote on the channel, and obviously, yeah, for sure that goes right back towards helping me continue to create content. So.
Love it, mate. I really appreciate you jumping on board. It's been absolutely fantastic. I will drop all your links at the end of this video and down below on the YouTube channel. But thanks, man, and I look forward to continually following you. Yeah,
thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. When's the video going up, you know?
So you're number 4, and I wanted to get 6 under the belt and then start building them out.
Cool. Great.
So I will let you know as soon as it's up.
Yeah, keep me posted, brother.